all of this is opaque. And this is why decentralized systems, right, are so freaking amazing, because then you have, okay, I can see that this model was trained using this data from these people, and I can trace all of that on chain. And that's something that we're trying to build. That's something that we are building at Sahara.
Today, we're joined by Jules Berrigan, the marketing mind behind Sahara AI, one of the fastest growing decentralized AI projects. With over 2 million users on the waitlist, Sahara isn't just talking about the future of AI, they're actually building it. So we're going to dive into how Sahara is challenging centralized AI giants and what this convergence of AI and Web3 really means for the internet. Welcome to the show, Jules.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Good to have you. And of course, as always, I'm joined by Mike from Deep Ventures. Happy to have this conversation with you. I'm just going to start off by asking this very simple question. Why should anyone care about decentralizing AI? What's really at stake here?
A lot of people don't necessarily think through what decentralized AI might mean to them, right? They know, hey, AI, I get, ChatGPT, I'm using it to create my work emails, right? Like, what do I care if it's decentralized? Well, if we look at how centralized systems work with the current system that exists today, right? It's built on your data, right? And even though it's built on your data, you're getting none of that value, right? The most powerful AI models, they're built on publicly available content, right? Your post, your art, your voice, your clicks, your everything, right? And it's all being pulled into those models without your consent, without any kind of attribution to you, without any compensation for using your data. And that's what decentralized AI really kind of flips the head on, right? And brings the power back to the users, makes it more equitable for end users, makes it so that anybody can benefit from their participation in this AI economy.
No, I think it aligns very much with the overall ethos of crypto and blockchain in general, data sovereignty. Very curious to learn more about the protocol and kind of go to market and how you're going to get to where you need to be. So yeah.
When I talked to Sahara, what stood out to me was they were talking about a vision. It wasn't just a story behind their tech and how amazing their tech was. It was, hey, we're building a future where AI is going to be equitable, it's going to be open, and it's going to be accessible to everybody. And that was a mission that I was willing to get behind, and it's a mission that I'm willing to obviously come in and spread. And I've always wanted to do the best work of my life anywhere I work. And Sahara was one of those places that I thought, hey, I can support this and do the best work of my life here. And so far I have been. I think we've been doing a great job at building a community.
I think the story is everything, right? Especially in the very early days, while you're building out the technology, while you are building out the team and the community. I think that like Jules said, that vision and like where you want to see the world to be and how you're going to get there is everything. Whether you're talking to an investor, or you're talking to a community member, or whether you're recruiting teammates, it's like you got to get people on board. You got to sell that vision, but you also have to. You have to really have the background to be able to build that vision.
Even the most brilliant people, right, especially devs, appreciate clarity, right? No one wants to sit through a deck. Nobody wants to sit through your website log that's just full of jargon when there doesn't need to be jargon in there. People want to understand, what is this? How does it work? And why should I care? And I take that same philosophy into everything that we do at Sahara AI, right? Because AI is complicated. AI is difficult. People just need to understand, why should I care, right? And it goes back to what we were saying at the beginning, which is current systems for AI just don't work, right? They're built on your data and you're not getting any of that value. I have no idea what data it's invested, where that data is being used. Have you deleted it? I told you to delete my data. Like, do you even have that capability? Like, all of this is opaque. And this is why decentralized systems, right, are so freaking amazing, because then you have, okay, I can see that this model was trained using this data from these people, and I can trace all of that on chain. And that's something that we're trying to build. That's something that we are building at Sahara, right? Is this system where everything is transparent and everything is equitable. I can upload, I can either upload my data sets and people can use them as part of their training for their model. And all of that is recorded on chain. People can see, okay, this application is using these models that were trained off these data sets, right? Everybody has visibility into that. Or let's say I don't have any special data sets that I can contribute to, right? I'm just a normal person, but I still want to actively participate in this AI economy. We have like our data services platform, which traditionally data services have always been, hey, we're going to charge a bunch of money to collect a bunch of data for you. You know, maybe you're building out this data set to train your model, right? And you need this very bespoke data. So we'll collect that data for you, and then you go train your data, right? You have no idea how that data was collected, who collected it, what was going on. With our decentralized AI data services, right? Anybody can go in, they can participate in this economy from anywhere in the world. They can participate in these data collection tasks, create these data sets, and all of that is captured on chain. So you can see, one, you can see how these data sets were created and curated, but two, anyone now has the ability to come in and participate in this, which I think is going to be a huge game changer, especially in the gig economy where you have like, hey, I just need to make a few quick bucks, right? I need a job. This is a job that anybody can do. I mean, it's time consuming. Like nobody necessarily loves to just do data collection, like, but it's a job and it pays. And especially with like Web3 and crypto now, like those are cross-border instantaneous payments.
No, I think what I think is the most important is that kind of verification and attribution of the data, and you're not only limited to like our personal data, right? That's obviously a big deal that, and we should get compensated for that. But like if you look at just how this has impacted like huge corporations' business models, right? Like I don't know what the status of like the New York Times and OpenAI court case is, but literally like New York Times is this institution that has cranked out millions and millions of articles that, and we know how hard of a business media is. They're basically kind of just scraping by with ads as well as subscription model, but like OpenAI essentially takes all or most of that data and leverages it for their profit, right? Where people are paying up to $200 a month for OpenAI and not paying for a New York Times article or New York Times subscription that's being used in OpenAI's model. So that's a huge risk. And I think look, this is a little while ago, but just the example stands of like, I don't know if you guys remember when Google Gemini first came out, and literally they were changing the course of history in terms of change, like images of the people in in historical times were of different races and everything, right? And it just kind of shows that like if you have a centralized model that's not trained well, and it's trained kind of on the the beliefs and culture of that centralized organization, like facts can literally change, right? I think that gets very dangerous in this age of misinformation. So that verification is super important and DEI is going to be able to hopefully solve that problem.
Mike brought up some really, really good points. And one thing I kind of want to nail down on right there is AI today is the worst it's ever going to be, right? And AI models are going to continue to get better and better and better. I mean, we saw that with DeepSeek, right? And all of the advances they were able to make, creating just like some open source models. And we're eventually going to get to a point, probably not too far in the future, where all of these models are basically on par with each other when it comes to performance. And the real big differentiator between all of them is going to be the data that powers them, right? What kind of data are they using that other model doesn't have? That's going to be the differentiator, is data. And the question is, who owns that data, right? And how you contribute to that data, and what portion of that data do you own?
Look, all that sounds great on paper. I mean, you guys are selling me on the whole decentralization model, and you mentioned performance, and that's something that has been a problem in Web3. If you look at just infrastructure, right? You compare Solana to, say, Cardano or Ethereum. A big reason why Solana has found a lot of traction is because, yes, not as decentralized in some ways, right? You can turn on and off certain components of the chain, and that creates a lot of, concern for those people that really believe in the ethos of decentralization. But reality is retail doesn't really care. They care about performance. They care about the user experience. So on that note, how is Sahara tackling the user experience when really that seems to be the most important part for users?
Decentralization is not a binary, it's a spectrum. And there's different levels of decentralization. And one thing that we do with Sahara is we're not going to decentralize, at least not immediately, the entire AI stack, because there's certain things that just aren't possible today if you want a high performant like AI system. So the data itself, right, isn't stored on chain. The actual computation for the AI isn't stored on chain. A lot of that is still off chain stuff. The stuff that's on chain is the stuff that people actually care about and the stuff that matters, right? The being able to track the provenance, right? The receipts in a sense of what the data is, where it came from. All of that is stored on chain, so you can say, hey, this data set belongs to me. And as a model, as a AI developer, I can say, hey, my model, this is my model, and it's using attached to like these data sets that you can also see on chain. And you can see all of those relationships. That's the part that's on chain right now.
UX always has to be great, right? I mean, regardless of whether you're decentralized or centralized, like UX has to be, products have to be easy to use. It has to, onboarding has to be easy. As much as you could have technology in the background and abstract it away, I think that's the best way to do things. But I do totally agree with just overall about the decentralization as a spectrum and being able to kind of progressively decentralize, put the stuff that really needs to be on chain, and just from the operations as well, like just. I think it's a great goal to kind of have decentralization and kind of have the token distributed amongst the community and ownership, but to do that at a very early stage in the life cycle of a project is just a really in general a bad idea, I think, because it is hard to operate under those conditions. So I totally agree with the progressively decentralized, putting the stuff that needs to be on chain now on chain, and then get to the point where you're mature enough, you're developed enough of an ecosystem to be able to fully decentralize.
And this whole UX challenge, I mean, that's why a lot of projects don't get traction. But in the case of Sahara, Jules, you've been able to take this project from 20,000 users all the way to 2 million. And I know that marketing played a huge role in that. So like what actually worked for you like along that journey?
Yeah, a lot of that's going to be community-led growth, if I'm being honest. So obviously, it's Web3. You're always going to have people that are kind of following the hype. People who think you're going to do one thing, so they're like, "Hey, let's follow and participate as much as possible, so that we can be ready for that one thing that might happen." But the real struggle is like, okay, cool, love those people, but also we need to make sure that we're also gathering genuine users who are interested in the product, who are going to stick around and actively participate and be real contributors. And I'm really happy that we've been able to collect quite a few of those because we have our open beta, our open testnet releasing pretty soon. It's can't say the actual date, almost did. Oops. Pretty soon, may or may not be out by the time this comes out. So we'll see how that goes. But we've been able to, on our private testnet, we already have about 180,000 active users on specifically our data services platform, just building out data sets for enterprise clients, which is really amazing. And they're creating some really cool data sets. Like the enterprise clients are very happy with the data sets that are coming out of this. But it's it's community. Like we have a really good community manager who pipes them up and keeps them engaged on Discord. It's about going in and finding where these people are, being able to educate them, hosting events, in-person events, right? So not just hosted by us, but finding like awesome community members who are willing to go out and host community events in their like jurisdictions, which is also really amazing. So it's great to see the community continue to grow.
Sounds great. Anything else that you'd like to add about Sahara? I mean, you mentioned you've got testnet coming up soon. Like anything else that's like really exciting that you guys are working on?
Yeah, everything's been pretty private. So everything, our data services platform has been whitelist only. Our AI developer platform has been whitelist only. And we've had a private testnet. So coming very, very soon, we'll have our open testnet where anybody can kind of go in, and we have some things that they can mess around with. I can't reveal what those things are yet, but it's pretty cool. We also have our open beta of our data services platform opening up same time. And that also anybody's going to be allowed to go in there, and now they can also participate in these data service tasks. We also introduced these really cool new tasks. I call them dual reward tasks. So basically we have our normal enterprise clients who our users will build data sets for. And now we have some more like Web3 clients who are sharing both their tokens. So they'll get Sahara points for every task that they complete, as well as tokens from whoever the partner is. So right now For example, we have a My Shell task. So they earn points from us and they earn My Shell tokens every time they complete a task. And we're going to have a bunch of those coming up with our open data. And then our AI developer platform is also going to open up.
Can I unpack a little bit there? Yeah, like it seems like
Yeah, it was a lot.
you've got a few, I think you guys are attacking like the entire AI stack. So yeah, can you kind of just clarify a little bit on how like each of those components kind of work together and how how and like kind of at what you're focusing on now in terms of what might be available upon launch?
Yeah, so we started with data because data fuels AI, right? When we break down AI development into its like smaller pieces, right? It all starts with data, specifically your data, right? So AI developers, you can, if you're going to develop some kind of AI project, right? Either you're going to find a model and then just use that and not do any changes to it and then just like launch it, or you're going to have to develop something specific, right? Yeah. So when you're looking for bespoke data sets to train your models, either to like fine tune a model or as a RAG data set, right? It's hard to find like really bespoke data. So that's what our data services platform is. It's a way for anybody to go in and say, hey, I need data on this topic, right? And it's obviously a lot more formal than that and a little bit more complicated, but say, hey, I'm a company. I'm looking to train my AI chatbot to sound more like a teenager, right? So I need actual conversations from teenagers, or I'm training this DeFi agent and I need this specific DeFi data, right? So our community will go in and if they qualify for certain exams, they'll go in, they'll do the pass the exam, and then they'll do the tasks, right? It'll say, give us whatever data that we need. They'll go in and they'll do that and they'll get points for it, right? And final data set can either belong to whoever the person that paid for it, or it can be put in our marketplace. So that's all the AI data services platform. And we have our AI developer platform, which consists of a model hub, a data hub, and a compute hub. So you could basically go in there, it's completely end to end. So let's say you have a data set already, you go in there with your data set, you can select some models, and then you can go and deploy it and create your API key and do whatever you want. So everything that you need all in one platform.
Jules, where can people get more information about Sahara?
Yeah, just go saharalabs.ai is going to be our website, or on X, we are at Sahara Labs AI.
Perfect. And before I let you go, I have to ask one final question. What's the one bet you'd make on where all of this is headed?
If I want to just speaking completely from myself, I think one area that's usually overlooked is robotics and like the intersection of AI and robotics. With AI accelerating as fast as it is, there's already some pretty cool physical AI that's being done with robotics right now, where robots are able to not just do their like pre-program, I do this and then drop it here, and then if something messes up, I break and learn to do my task, right? So now they're like learning and they're able to do a lot of stuff that you didn't think robots could do before. And I can't imagine in 5 years what that's going to look like, especially when you bring blockchain into the mix and suddenly you have, robots, autonomous vehicles, whatever, that can actually theoretically own themselves, right? Manage their funds on chain, operate as, economic agents. It's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, I mean, I think Internet of Things. Go ahead.
Literally writing a blog post on the intersection of robotics, AI, and crypto. And
there you go, great minds.
Yeah, Internet of Things is something that has been discussed before, but I think now we're getting to a point where we're ready to have like more detailed conversations, because now you have autonomous vehicles. Like what Tesla's been building is insane, right? So I think we're entering that point. That's like the next phase of AI. But really cool stuff. Jules, this was a real pleasure. Thanks so much for taking the time. And Mike, thanks for hopping on and adding some additional questions to the mix. And for those that are watching, if you found this video helpful, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, support Jules, give Sahara AI a follow on X. We'll include all the links in the description, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.